Well. Okay, so welcome everyone to another episode of Everything and Nothing. I found another friend, I know. I always make it a joke, like it's surprising that I have friends, but I do because the conversations that we have here are very broad. We can be talking about feelings and emotions, or we can be talking about healing, like the last episode I did. But the whole point of the story is that it's all connected. There's everything we do is connected, whether we're I don't know, going out for a walk, for a meal, preparing for a meeting, our humanness. I don't know if that's a word, but now it's a word in my head. Our humanness is there, and it's in everything we do. So, with that, I'm happy to introduce you to another friend. So, here we have Berenice, and I'm going to let her introduce herself, tell us what she's up to in the world. She doesn't have to tell us exactly where she lives, but she can tell us where in the map she kind of hovers over and what she does. So I'm going to pass it over to Berenice to tell us a little bit about herself, and then we'll get started with something.
Hello. Before with my speech, I want to thank you, Beth, for really thinking about me and inviting me over to your podcast. I am very pleased to be part of this episode of Connection. It's been quite a an adventure, an experience, having that connection with myself. That's one of the topics we're going to talk about today. And so my name is Berenice Preciado, and I am a health coach, a spiritual guide, and a yoga teacher. Throughout my whole life experience, I have um, came across a lot of experiences where it just brings me back to myself. And I found that just nurturing your body with healthy foods, clean foods, it's really important. And it was quite a mess back in the days for me. So food led me to really clear out my mind and my emotional bodies. So that's where the connection of the topic today is. And also within yoga, I have learned that it also brings me back to myself. It brings me back to really um, living through movement, brings me back to my essence. And also having that spiritual energy in my life, whether it might be something that you believe in, with whether it could be, God or angels or universe, or whatever it is that you believe in. I feel like for me, it has been such a game changing through my life and just be able to live a happier and healthier lifestyle, even with challenges, even with certain situations in my life that maybe are don't bring me a lot of joy, but I have to be there and I have to really connect back to myself through those experiences. So my main focus in this lifetime is to really help women connect back to their power, their essence, and really allow that connection you have with yourself to glow and to really light up your life and others. So that's mainly my path and my mission in this and purpose in this lifetime.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing and thank you for your introduction. So, a little bit of how we came across. We've met quite a few years ago. I believe, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken, it was like 2019,
I
like
think
toward
so.
the end of 2019. Because I remember I kept telling you about my book that I was writing which I didn't finish until just last week that I launched. Um, and the reason I'm saying that is because we're talking about connection
Mm-hmm.
and the importance of awareness when we're connecting to anyone or anything, and how it's all, intertwined together. Because it's been that long. I remember we used to have calls. I do my card readings, and I used to do card readings, and we used to have conversations. I was sharing a lot of different ways of how to deliver a message, tell stories, do videos. I remember all this, stuff now. And then life happened. Many things happened in between. And I believe it wasn't just us, me and you. I believe it was the whole world hit a pause button, and then everybody went to tend to their needs, tend to their family, their own, lives.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I, we were still connected. Here's the beauty of social media sometimes. That was the way we stayed connected. So we kind of saw each other through there. And then recently, when I decided to make this space a reality, you were one of the first people I thought of bringing here because
Mm-hmm.
even though we weren't talking all the time, I was staying up to date with what you with
Mm-hmm.
what you were doing, what you're doing in life, and how you're showing up in the world. And the reason I'm saying all of this is connection is such a beautiful, natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's rooted from a place of authenticity and truth and
Mm-hmm.
alignment, it stays clear and it stays strong no matter what happens. Because when
Yeah.
you and when I reached out to you and said, "Hey, do you want to be part of this? This is what I'm doing, and everything and nothing, and we have this, we can have a conversation and just go with it." I remember it felt like we just finished talking 2 months ago, and now we're just talking again.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see, how you show up, and even the your life, the transitions that you've been through in your life from when we met to where we are now, it's a beautiful gift to be part of each other's lives like that. So one of the things that we often talk about is social media, and there's this love hate relationship, because it can feel so overwhelming. Because
Mm-hmm.
in a way, social media is another form of connection, right? And then, but if we use it properly in a healthy way, it kind of helps us. It's like food.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause
Right.
remember, I made the funny joke of my spirit loves hot Cheetos, so no matter what, I'm always gonna eat hot Cheetos. I know they're not the healthiest. I don't want to hear a whole speech about how I need to. No, I'll still eat, my broccoli and my watermelons and whatever, and I will always enjoy my hot Cheetos
Right.
because I don't eat them every day. I don't eat them every meal. It's gotten better. I used to eat a whole bag in one sitting. Now the bag lasts for like 2 weeks, which is nice.
Well, that's really good.
It is, right? So I'm using all of these examples because in life, everything is connected. Everything we do. The
Yeah.
relationship we have with food, the relationship we have with social media, the relationship we have with each other. So, having said all of that, I'm really curious to hear when you hear the word connection, what comes up for you?
Sorry, what was that? I think it cut off a little bit.
When you hear the word connection, like what does that mean? Because it always starts within itself. Like going,
Yeah.
I used to have, I still have it somewhere. But when you and I used to talk when we first met, I had this little thing, this little clipping from a magazine that said coming home to myself.
Mm.
And I remember telling you that's where I'm going. I'm going home. I'm going back to myself. I'm falling in love with myself. And I used to sing love songs to myself because I wanted to like really take care of myself. So I was deepening that connection to self. And I was saying now that I shared all of that, I'm really curious to hear your perspective on what does connection mean to you.
Wow, that's a very good question. And that's really a deep question. For me, I'd say connection is everything. Um, as you were speaking, a lot of things came to my mind of first, through my experience in life, I just a little bit of background for my history. I was born in Mexico and I am now living in the United States. But transitioning from a whole new style of living in Mexico to here in the US, it's completely different. A new culture, new environment, new people, new friends, new family, food, a lot of things changed. And that affected me. And where I'm going with this is that for me, I didn't realize the connection I had with my mom left me, my brother and me in Mexico when I was about 5 years old. She would come to the United States and, help us out and things, getting us prepared to come. Everybody, the whole family come over. And so for me, that at 5 years old, that was an impact. That was something very big for me. That at that moment, I didn't realize how big of an impact emotionally it was. So when I came to the United States, I started eating a lot of things and at that time, I didn't know it was bad. I didn't know um, it was making me gain weight, and so I saw that as just eating, it's just food, whatever. And as time passed and as I started to grow up, I realized that that wasn't making me one. And here's what the connection I go for. That wasn't making me feel good. So what I was eating is the connection of how I was feeling and how I was thinking until later on I started to realize, and then I took action to what I wanted. But deeper than that, it was actually I was eating because I felt at 5 years old that my mother left me. So for me, I was feeling that love with food. So for me, taking action into really going deep into what I'm feeling, into what I'm going through mentally. It's really something that has helped me throughout life. And for me, there's no, eat healthy, only eat healthy, and then meditate and only meditate, and then affirmations and only affirmations. No, for me is everything is come to one, which is a connection. If you move your body, as I'm a yoga instructor, if I move my body, that energy of my body moving is gonna connect to how I feel emotionally and how I feel mentally. And that's really going to impact, and vice versa. If I'm working on my mind, it is going to affect my body and it is going to affect my emotions. And also, if I work on my emotions and I heal a lot of things and I do work, it's not only just that, it also has to do with results, actions, but it also has to do with the way and the conversations you create with yourself. So for me, connection is one. And another thing that you mentioned earlier about eating hot Cheetos and stuff. My grandpa from my dad's side passed away probably about or going to be about 3 years ago. And I was so close to him, and it was very impacting because I had all my grandparents. I had from both sides. So him passing on, transitioning from this lifetime to the next, um, was really an impact for me because when he was at his last stage, it was like he wanted to grab food and he would like, I guess, energetically put it in his mouth and actually feel like he was chewing it. His mouth was moving. And so when we went to do all the, all the things for him, one of his messages was to just live life because life experience is something very fragile, but at the same time, very like a unique experience you will not ever have again. So from that point, because I was going through some internal, um, I guess, like awakening or like discovering whether if I should do something or if I should do another thing. And he just reminded me having that connection. He gave me that message of experiment whatever you have to experiment. If you want to go work at somewhere else, go work and have that experience. If you want to go do teaching and 100% do that, go do that. And what I go with this is it also reminds me of if you want to eat something, just eat it. Just having that consciousness of I'm going to enjoy it because that's another thing that I really teach people into if you're really going to eat something that you might think it's not going to be healthy, just enjoy it. Really have that experience and be able to eat and be grateful that you're able to experience that and really have your sense activated in tasting, in smelling, in feeling. And so for me, that's what connection is. Um, I went to global, but
No, no, no. There is never, there's no need. I always tell people when we're in here, I don't care where we go, how far out we go, we can always come back in because that's the beauty of when we're connected. If we are authentically open to going with the flow organically, look at the trees. It's not like the roots say, "Oh no, 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 don't go that way. Grow more this way." They just go, right?
right.
So don't feel like, "Oh, it was too much." There's never too much. But I do love what you just said. Um, and I feel that is one thing that when it comes to food, there's a little fly here. When it comes to food, that it's oh look, it's right there. That it's true, which is back in the day, even 2 years ago, more like 3 years ago, I would say. Um, I knew someone that was very, very strict about food. And he would always tell me, you shouldn't be eating that. You should be eating healthy. You should. And because I felt so ashamed of eating my hot Cheetos, I would buy a bag and just eat it all at once. And one,
Mm,
I wasn't enjoying it because I was trying to just finish it. It was like instant gratification, which is such a trendy word right now. Two, because I had already bought it and I was ashamed, I just wanted it to be done with. So I was like stuffing myself with them, like, I need to finish the bag because I don't want any evidence. And three, when it was done, everything was gone. Whereas fast forward to now, and this year I've made a lot of readjustments in how I live my life, how I choose to show up in my life. The designing, which is the book that I have, is Design a Life You Love. I'm very aware of who I allow in my space, who I want to be close to my life, my foundation, my environment. And therefore, my relationship with that specific food, as crazy as it sounds, I know it's Hot Cheetos, it's a lot healthier. I don't need a whole bag. I just need a
Mm-hmm.
little bowl, sometimes a little handful.
Right.
And just that one little Cheeto going in my mouth is so amazing because
Mm-hmm.
there's a flavor. I can, like you said, I activate all my senses. I'm aware. I'm
Mm-hmm.
touching it. I'm looking at it. I can hear the crunching. I can taste, the flaming hot. And if I want to go wild, I'll put some even lime juice on it just to like bring out the flavors even more, if I want to be all fancy about it. But what that does for me is it allows a more a much healthier relationship with that food without shame, but more from a place of enjoyment. And I remember telling not too long ago to someone, they said, we're spirits experience in this world. I said, yes, and my spirit really loves hot Cheetos. So, you know, and it brought me to the memory of the Day of the Dead,
Mm-hmm.
which is big in Mexico. And when we go to the cemetery or we have our altars at home, we usually bring to our loved ones whatever they enjoy the most on this realm. If they really enjoyed their cigarettes, we put a little pack of cigarette right there. If they really enjoyed, candy, we bring a little because of what you just said and the message that your grandpa gave or reminded you of. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're here to live life, like
Yeah.
fully, experience it, go for it, give it a try, just try it out. So when I feel like when we start making those decisions, when we start choosing to live life that way, the connection is clearer
Mm-hmm.
and we don't need to repeat things. It's kind of like when we're on a Zoom call and if we have good internet, our microphones are good, our headphones and speakers are good, the message moves with more fluidity. We don't need to be
Mm-hmm.
like, what? Can you say that again? Sorry. What? Huh? What did you say? I can't hear you. Wait. And then it's messy and it's heavy and it's exhausting. But when we're clear and we show up authentically, giving ourselves permission to just experience life,
Mm-hmm.
it's nicer.
And
Um,
sometimes, and
yeah,
sometimes, going back to the meeting we had before, um, we're so much in this world of trying to figure out what to heal. And also really thinking that just by healing, it's gonna just help your life, which is, we get to that point of healing, and yes, we heal. But it's not only about that. And it's not, we are, sometimes we get stuck in a certain philosophy. Is that what it's called? Yeah, like a way of living
yeah, like a
of
belief or
maybe,
philosophy. Yeah, yeah.
hmm hmm um, it can be like whether with food being vegan or being just eating meats or whatever it is. And I feel that that only separates you from your own connection.
Mm,
Why do I say this? Because I also went through that. I got to a stage where I was thinking of being vegan. So I did for a month because that's only what my body was wanting to do. I needed meat. Um, and which was fine, I experimented that, and that's what I felt that I needed at that moment. And I also have had the thing of, okay, I need to heal, I need to do some sort of therapy or hypnotherapy or meditation or just go to a retreat, a healing retreat, Reiki. and just thinking that that was going to be the solution of coming back to myself. And sometimes those are just um, pieces and parts of the new version you're becoming, but is not 100% your full on connection with yourself. So I feel like that what has helped me come back to that connection with myself has been what we were talking earlier before starting was doing what feels right for you. If something doesn't feel right for you, maybe that's not the path you should be walking. Maybe you should just pause and really ask yourself those questions of, does this really feel aligned to me? Does this really feel like I'm going the right path? And if it doesn't, let's try a different one. Something that really helps you connect. Something, and how do you know? Sometimes we are so in our head that we don't even know how we can even connect to ourselves. And just a very simple thing to do is really allowing yourself to know what you are attracted to. What calls your attention? Let's say what calls my attention is going hiking, for example. Maybe that's something your body needs, your soul needs. Or maybe it's eating hot Cheetos. Or maybe it's eating, something
A broccoli
with
stick.
veggies or whatever. Yeah, or whatever it is just really being aware and conscious of what grabs your attention. And then from there, go to that to be able to come back to yourself and connect.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember we touched on that when we had our conversation or, one on one. And the reason why we talked about that, I feel, was because nowadays there's so much out in social media. It's no matter where you turn around, there's someone telling you, do this diet, do this exercise, wear this clothing, do this dance, even the challenges that you're supposed to do in life, which it's like, okay, well, that's a lot. But at the end of the day, it's doing what feels good for you. It's, we can't avoid it. All of these things are around. We see them. Even if we decide to take off our profile on social media, someone will bring it up in a conversation, most likely. What I'm trying to say is things will pop up no matter what. And I feel the world right now is at a place where everything is just coming up. So we can choose, so we can experiment and really practice that gift of choice. We have a choice. And we can also change our minds. And it's okay to change our minds.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely okay. Um, I had a conversation the other day with a guy that was saying that, when someone says they want to do something, it doesn't make sense that they change their mind later. And I said, well, no, it does. It can change, it can change. You can totally change your mind. Because he was talking about dating, and he said, I was talking to this woman and we wanted to go on a date and we were going to go and then she changed her mind. He's like, and I don't understand how that happens. You either want to or you don't. And I said, well, a lot of things can happen in between. Maybe when you were talking to her, she was really excited about it, but then on the day of, maybe she wasn't feeling well. So it's not that she didn't like you anymore. Maybe she just wasn't feeling up for it. And as women, we go
Mm-hmm.
through a lot of changes in every cycle of the moon
Mm-hmm.
that we just can't control. And he
Yeah.
was looking at me like, that's real? And I said, yes, that is real.
Mm-hmm.
It does happen. And what I'm getting at is even that is a powerful statement because at the end of the day, I do believe we are experiencing these moments of choosing how we go back home. We're going to go back home one way or the other. We're all
And it's
headed
not
there.
your physical home.
Exactly. You know, we're all headed there. There's, I don't know if you remember in some movies or some books, there's this line that says, the one thing we have guaranteed is death. We were born to die. Like,
Mm,
that's one perspective to say, you can say every day I choose to live, or you can say every day I'm closer to my death. Whichever way, they're both true. Um, and it's really like, well, what are we choosing? Because we're gonna get there. It's Do we want to choose a harder way? I remember one day I did this meditation, and I was really wanting to focus on my body. I wanted to feel my body. And I feel you're going to appreciate this because you're a yoga instructor. Like, really feel, be aware of the movement. When you lift this arm, what does that do to the leg? What does
mm,
that do to the back? Like, where is it feeling awkward? So I was going through all of that, feeling my body. And I suddenly had this horrible, sharp pain, like at the tip of my stomach. And it
mhm,
hurt bad. And I was like, I think I have to go get it checked. So I went to get it checked, and they did some tests. And and when I was there getting the tests done, I asked the doctor, is it bad? And they said, well, we're gonna, send the test over. We don't know. It could be many things. And I said, well, like what? Because I don't like Googling things because I don't trust Google with its little information. So I asked the doctor, just give me like best and worst. He's like, well, you could just have like heartburn, or, the worst thing is some kind of cancer. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go home and just wait. So I went home and I started talking to my body and asking, like, what are you trying to tell me here? And at the
mhm,
time, I was enjoying a drink, either wine or a beer, almost every day because I was friends with someone that's what they like to do. This is back when I was in
mhm,
England, and they loved having a drink after work. And I didn't want to say no because I wanted to socialize with my friends. So even if it was just one drink, I would nurse that drink for like 2 hours, but it was the drink. And so I asked my body, like, what's happening? And the answer I got was, my body was tired of the drinking. My body was like, listen, you're going to live a long life. So right now, we're giving you a reminder. You get to choose. Do you want to live it in pain, or do you want to live it
mm,
with ease and grace? And I was like, oh, that's true. Because there's no guarantee. A lot of people are like, I could die tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but you could also live 50 years.
mhm, mhm.
So it's
Yeah.
almost like, let's live life as if this is the last time we get to do this, or as if we're going to live for 100 years, and what consequences we're going to live with.
Mhm,
Looking at both. But even that, in essence, it's a reminder of the connection with what feels good to us.
mhm,
And sometimes, going with the flow, it's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I was like, yeah, I'll have
mhm,
another beer. But then I started becoming more aware of consequences. It's like, well, actually, maybe I'll have a Coke this time. Tone it down. And then later it's like, I'll just have some sparkling water, you know? And then, but that's the point. That's the beauty of it. Like learning, we get to learn,
Yeah.
we get to experience. And that's the unspoken healing, not the overnight healing. We're in constant
Mhm,
healing mode. There is no
mhm,
end to the healing.
mhm,
For the
mhm,
end to
mhm.
the healing to happen, everything in the existence will have to stop. And that's,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say impossible or unrealistic, but that's part of the experience.
Mhm,
So healing and connection are like
mhm.
hand in hand.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my God, I was gonna say something I totally forgot. Oh yes. I just think sometimes now that you say that of, others involved in your actions or the things you're doing, a lot of times we get so influenced by others that's where the disconnection happens. We're trying to please, or we're trying to fit in and being accepted by others. And another thing I really like and I take into practice is really um, mirroring yourself through others
Mm,
and really noticing what feels uncomfortable might be the disconnection you have with yourself. And I feel that everything is a connection, everything. Whether it might be a place you live in, whether it might be a person you're dating or a person you're going with or your husband, whether it might be your children, your dog, your a thing that's here. Whatever it is, I feel like everything is just a part of who you are. And it describes how you are and the connection you have with yourself. So I feel like really gaining awareness of the people around you and the people who are you influenced by, or even like friends, family, and really, like you say, if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel good, maybe it's time to let go and move on. Yeah. So for me, I have gone through a lot of that where I had friends from high school and I still talk to, but sometimes you get to a point where you just talk to them, but it's not like a deep connection you have with them. And it's fine. It's fine to be having just friends who are just, you just talk and you see them, see their life on social media, but it just you're at a place where it feels good for you. And when we let things go, at the same time, it's kind of like being born and dying. It's kind of like you're doing those two things at once, where you're letting go, but at the same time, you're opening up new space for other souls to come into your life
hmm.
and really help you and guide you and walk this path with you, whether it might be a day, it might be a few hours, it might be a lifetime, but it's really having that connection where your souls meet to walk in this path. So it's amazing having connections and being connected with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I always, even like, yeah, I mean, if you're watching this, of course, on YouTube, you'll see my dog in the back. She's trying to make her bed. It's what she's trying to. And she knows I'm talking about her. Again, that's a connection. She may not understand the language, but she can feel that I'm focusing on her. So she stops and kind of looks over. But it's interesting, right? Because we're talking about connection and the importance of having that connection. And at the same time, we're talking about letting go,
Hmm.
releasing something that we were connected to. And I feel like no matter what, as we're moving through this conversation, I feel like the biggest thing here is it always goes back to the connection with ourselves. The moment we let go of ourselves, we lose that connection to our essence and to our truth, whatever that is to us, to our values, to our purpose. And whereas when we let go of something external, sometimes
Hmm.
that's what helps us deepen our connection with ourselves. And how
Totally.
fascinating that is, having that awareness, right?
Yeah. And for me, I'd say in this moment in my life is a time where my energy is wanting to move forward in the aspect of showing up more on social media, maybe doing a little bit more videos on YouTube, having these connections and collaborations with others. Um, and sometimes the chit chat of the mind comes in and really wants you to stay within this four walls, but your soul is so happy and like super emotional to the point of I'm so excited to really discover everything, but at the same time it's like my mind is so uh trying to stay where it feels comfortable, but
Mm.
sometimes that uncomfortableness or that scaredness takes you to where your soul wants you to go.
Yeah.
And really understanding the magic of having a balance in this case of those two, where you let go, but at the same time, you open up to new things. And also, this where you want to open up and your soul is so happy to open and explore the world, but your mind is just, and it's amazing when you get to a point of, come with me, let's do this together. There's no need to be scared. There's no need to um, hold back. Just walk with me and just talking to your mind, going through it together, and really exploring that, what your soul wants.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the awareness of having that connection to self and then connection to, with our close circle, family member, kids, spouses, pets, and then going out to that connection of, the outer layer, like us,
Mm-hmm.
and the friendly reminder of collaboration. It's one of my core values. No matter what, this experience is designed to be shared,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is with, a person or another living thing like a tree. There's many people that's all the friends they have are trees. Many people have told me, when I was youngest, my best friend was this kind of tree. There's a connection there, or the birds, or the dog, right? But the point of the message there is this life is and was and is and will be designed to be shared, to expand on those experiences. Sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
you were just talking about sharing moments, whether it's a few minutes, a few conversations, a lifetime. I remember telling someone, well, what is a lifetime? There are flies that live 24 hours. That's their whole lifetime right there. And there's, I think, was it an Interstellar? I don't know if you've seen that movie, but in one of I love that movie. I watched it. I avoided it for years because my ex husband told me, "Oh, you should watch it. I think that's kind of your movie." And I was like, oh, "Don't tell me what's my movie and not." And then I avoided it, and then I finally watched it 6 years later, and I was like, "He was right. I should have watched it a long time ago." What I'm getting at is there's a scene in the movie where they arrive to this space, and they say, "A minute here, it's like 7 years on Earth."
Mm-hmm.
Which I love the whole idea, time, like what is time, but that's a whole other conversation. But anyway, what I'm getting at is choosing who we share our moments with, our lives, whether it's a moment, a conversation, a lifetime, quote unquote, whatever that is. Um, those relationships can either deepen our connection with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
or it can help us disconnect fully,
Mm-hmm.
give up our own
Totally.
connection to feed their connection to whatever they want. That's
Mm-hmm.
why it's so important to learn, to listen, and have the courage and the bravery to walk away and let go. And believe me, there's a book coming, I'm sure, of me and my relationships and heartbreaks and the experience of what that's like. Knowing when to walk away from a relationship, whether it's a friendship or a romantic relationship or a
Mm-hmm.
job.
Yeah.
When is any of these relationships, any of these connections, when are they taking you away from that? And then being aware, I was in a relationship once where the person I was with kept saying, "You're taking me away from what I want to do." And I was like, "No, dude, I'm just sharing with you certain patterns and behaviors that are actually unhealthy for our relationship." I'm not saying you have to leave them. It's more like just be aware of them. Like if you have a job and the job is demanding so much of you that it feels that you're connected because you're connected to a purpose, but you're disconnected with yourself because the things that your soul wants, your spirit wants, it becomes
Mhm.
an ultimatum. Then that's you losing connection with yourself. You know, who are you living this life for? Are you living it for someone else or are you living it for yourself? So if you have a job that is paying well, that gives you all of this material stuff, but it's taking you away from what you really want.
Mhm.
And vice versa, if you have a job that's very humbling, that you serve the community, but you're sacrificing a lot of yourself and you're feeling resentful and you're feeling a little like, well, I also want to, enjoy a little night out, but I don't have money for it.
Mhm.
Being mindful of, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying being aware, because with that awareness, we can make better decisions of
Mhm.
what are we connecting to. That's what came up for me when you were sharing that.
For
Some
sure.
connections will help us deepen our connection to ourselves. And sometimes you said that earlier, the transitions to our newer versions of ourselves.
Mhm.
Because sometimes, like, let's say you and I are reconnected right now and we start doing this work. And let's say, for whatever, just for fun, we say, let's do a retreat in
Mhm.
California. That relationship, that choice is helping us both deepen our connection to our purpose.
Mhm.
Whereas if we choose to reconnect to, a friend from, I don't know, years ago, that they still like to go clubbing and partying and drinking, and
Right.
we reconnect with them, that connection is most likely going to take us away. They're going to help us reconnect to an older version of ourselves that
Mhm.
we let go of.
Mhm.
But it's all a choice. So, yeah. Whoa. See, now I took us out there.
It's all a connection.
It is at the end of the day, everything's connected. Everything's
Yeah.
connected, and we're all going home. We just get to choose the journey home.
Yes.
We're all healing. We just get to choose how.
Mhm.
Are we healing through pain and suffering, or are we healing through amazing, beautiful experiences? Are we expanding through debates and arguments, or are we expanding through an open conversation?
Mhm. Being conscious or unconscious.
Yeah. Well, well, well. This has been fun. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. I say this to everyone that comes in. I feel like we can have another one, because there's always so much to share, And thank you for sharing your story about growing up in the U.S. and the transition of one culture to another, and because I think that was one of the things that connected us. Was my
Mhm.
mom also moved to the U.S. when I was 5, and I stayed home
Mhm.
with my grandma, being raised there for 5 years until my mom, you know, said, "Okay, I want you to come over," and then I moved to the U.S. and that was hard for me
Yeah.
because I had such a deep connection to the country, the people, the village, my grandma. Not so many of the friends; they were bullies, but my family, you know.
Yeah.
And then going to a new country where everything's different, the food is different. Um, The people are different. Everything is different. It was it was definitely something. Okay, we're
Sorry, you
back.
cut off. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Yeah, I was just saying, going from one place where, well, everything is just different, and that was, yeah, it's a big transition, and we go through those transitions all the time as we choose to live life.
Are we there?
There we go. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, as we continue to live life and enjoy life to the fullest, I do wish everyone a good connection to themselves first and foremost. And I do wish everyone to make decisions that support them to remain in that connection with self. So, is there anything you want to say? Any closing remarks or words before we sign off?
Um, I think that just reminding yourself of really, if you podcast till now, really allow yourself to dive deep into really, first of all, gaining awareness of what connection is for you. Whether it might be something that you connected with what Ibeth said or what I said, and that feels right for you, then that's what it is. And if it doesn't, really go deep into what feels right, and have your own definition of connection. It doesn't have to be the same as ours, or it can, whatever you choose. And really, from here and now, walking your path with that connection. For me, I leave you with that, and I am very happy, even though I'm not seeing you, even though I'm not seeing your face, and I'm not hearing you, and I don't know you, but I we have that connection, and that connection is this conversation we just had. So whatever aligned, whatever connected with you, let that guide you to really go back to your light and open up and spark others with that light. Thank you, Beth, for inviting me.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Thank you. And as always, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for sharing with, if you heard something here that you think might benefit, might help someone else that just pass it around. It's how we remain connected through this experience. But also check out the description. Um, I'll share some ways of how you can reach out to Berenice and how you can stay connected and see what she's up to and see, how you can even reach out if you want to have a further conversation or ask any other questions. Most important is it's our choice and it's our responsibility is to show up and give you a way to welcome that connection. It's your job to choose how you take the step forward and actually make it happen. So, with that, I wish you an amazing rest of your day, night, week, whatever, whenever you're listening. And thank you for being here. Thank you for this conversation. And yeah, we'll stay connected. And until next time, see you next time through another connection. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.